high school sports fans. Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships.
I'm Scott Gegerson, certified financial planner, former collegiate athlete, and founder of Truvium Wealth Management. We're a full-service financial planning firm serving families throughout Nassau County and beyond. With college now one of the biggest expenses a family will face, right up there with purchasing a home, I specialize in helping parents not just save for college, but how to pay for it, so that you could send your student to the school of their choice without jeopardizing your retirement or long-term goals. Visit TruviumWealth.com or scan the QR code to learn more.
From Ed Walsh Field here on the campus of Manhasset High School. Manhasset and Southside. It's a rivalry renewed. It's a rematch of last year's county final, but kind of in name only, as these two teams in different classifications, but still it should make for a juicy late season non-league contest between Southside and Manhasset. Today's game sponsored by Truvium Wealth Management. We thank them so much for their sponsorship. And a pleasant good evening, everyone. Dylan Butler alongside Tom Rooney for an entertaining, we think, late season non-league contest, right? It's a lot of times when you have these games, Tom, the two teams like, listen, you know, a little handshake. Let's just get out of this game. We'll go through the motions. No injuries. We're not going to really go full steam. Not the case, though, for these two here tonight. Again, this is non-league, but it's also they're not pulling punches because they're not in the same classification anymore.
That's right.
Manhasset in Class B, Southside this year in Class C. So they're going to go for it. It's gonna have that feel of a playoff contest just before the playoffs.
Yeah, there's bragging rights. There's maybe a little payback for last year's county championship game. And then there's just let's get ready for the playoffs. We're both really good. We're both going to go into the playoffs this year. We get to get an opponent on both sides that will really test us and see where we are going into the playoffs this year.
100%. And it's been, for Southside, a full season test, if you will. 27 seniors graduated from last year's dream season of a county, Long Island, and state championship. So there were question marks about these Cyclones. What can this version of Southside do this year?
Right.
And maybe not a lot of heat on them before the start of the season. But then you get wins over Yorktown. You get these cardiac Cyclone wins over Syosset and especially Wantagh in overtime. And suddenly, there's a tension on this Southside team.
Yeah, first thing is they put a really tough schedule out there, and they tackled that with a team they were a little uncertain about. But then they go out and not just, play that schedule, but they go out and they get signature wins all up and down their schedule. They proved a lot this year. This wasn't a flash in the pan. It wasn't a group of seniors that had a magical run and now we're back to kind of the struggle. This is a real program. They're here to stay.
And Steve DiPietro said, now the conversation kind of goes, hey, guys, how fun would it be to go back-to-back? Right? And now you could secure your legacy at Southside. And two guys who are hoping to lead them to that legacy this year as champions again. Two guys who weren't main characters last year, but they are certainly this year. Cullen Lynch on the offensive side. And a Muscarella name is certainly synonymous with Southside. John Muscarella with the long pole.
Yeah, so let's start with Cullen Lynch. he had a lot of goals last year, played a big role, but it was really as a supporting actor, right? You had the big names that got a lot of the attention. So Cullen Lynch come back, and he's really answered the bell. He's had a tremendous year. He's done a little bit of everything. He's the senior leader of that offense. And on the other side, John Muscarella is a lefty, a tenacious defender, always on his guys' hands. He does a really nice job off the ground and in the clearing game. He has stepped in and played really well for this Southside team.
Yeah, so much is put on Muscarella's shoulders with the season-ending injury to Jack Mullen.
Right.
So now he's got to be that main pole and generally get the other team's best players. So that's Southside. They come in with an 11-3 record. Manhasset, they've got these games, Tom, on their schedule that they're locked into every year, right? It's the Battle of the Sound. It's the Woodstick Classic. It's Reegs Rock. These are difficult games every single year. And to have them essentially, there was a Calhoun win sandwich between, but you go from Woodstick to a week later Reegs Rock. That is a gauntlet for this Manhasset team. But again, it's about being prepared and ready for the postseason. And there will not be a team challenged more than Manhasset late in the season that will be in Nassau County.
Absolutely. The playoff ready is exactly what they'll be after this stretch. And you said it, 3 out of 4 games that were just really tough battles. And no, there's no getting out of those games. You're playing them every year, and they welcome them. And Coach Cromwell was really honest with us about understanding what he wanted out of those games, and I think his team is better coming out of that stretch.
And this is one that they chose as well, right? This is a non-league game. It's not part of the Power Conference as well. He wanted to challenge his guys late in the regular season and give them a little bit of a taste of what playoff lacrosse will be like come a couple weeks from now. So they are 9-5 on the season. 2 guys they're hoping to lead them today. One of them just happens to be a leader, Tommy Leader. And on the other side, listen, we had to throw in a Melkonian, right? Like, that was the guy on the other side for so long, winning all those face-offs, but it's actually Kyle Melkonian on the defensive side. Has kind of flown under the radar a little bit as a short stick D midi, but he's been really good. Yeah,
we'll start with Kyle Melkonian. Obviously, his cousin was the face-off guy for Southside the last 3 years and just a dominant player. So now it's their turn to have a Melkonian go out there and impact the game. Kyle's an excellent short stick D-midi. He is the Swiss Army knife of this team. He does a little bit of everything. And on the offensive end, Tommy Leader is an excellent player. When Tommy plays well on offense, this Manhasset offense plays well. They need him to get going tonight.
See his numbers on the year, a point away from 30 on the season for Tommy Leader, part of that first midfield unit for Manhasset. We take a look at the starting lineups for each team. First, for the visitors from Southside. And it's Luke Mullen, Connor Sheehan, and Jack Muscarella as your attack line. First midfield, we mentioned Cullen Lynch, right? The senior bound for Iona, Brendan Vetter. And John Hawthorne has been really good, the sophomore, down the stretch of the regular season for Southside. At LSM, that's where Ryan Madden is. Braden Gamberg was there, but again, that injury to Mullen pushes Gamberg to close D along with Muscarella and Kufka. And in the cage, it has been a rotation for Southside, but getting the start here tonight, the sophomore, Jack DeSarlo.
Yeah, Jack's a big lefty. Takes up a lot of the cage. I love his game. He's got great hands. I think a combination of being lefty, having that big stance makes him really hard to shoot at. He's very, very good in the clearing game.
That's DeSarlo, his head coach. There he is, Steve DiPietro, 17th season at the helm. A career record. He is coming close. He's 3 away from his 200th win in his career. I don't know if it's a milestone as well, but he just had his 100th loss. So, but his 200th win coming up. Obviously coming off a sensational season last year. When we spoke with him, heading up to Hobart, pick up his son, get all the stuff pack up the car after his college season. So, a great coach, and we're excited to see his guys here today. For Manhasset, take a look at their starters. Some familiar names, certainly, right? Danny Colin, Connor Sheeran, and Phil Palumbo, the sophomore, the lefty, getting the start with Marco Petroselli out injured. Your first midfield line of O'Connor, Leader, and Shear. They've been really good this year as well. At LSM, Lachlan Fitzpatrick, Their close D of Salura, Kelly, and De Pietro. And in the goal, Henry Griffith. How good has Henry Griffith been, man? He comes in after the first quarter of the Woodstick, and he has been lights out, especially with all that firepower Chaminade and Garden City has. He has been outstanding.
Yeah, he's been dealing with an injury since the middle of the year. He's finally healthy, comes into the Woodstick, plays fantastic against Chaminade. You talk about a goalie getting ready for the playoffs. See a lot of shots against those two teams, and he really answered the bell. He does a really nice job between the cage. Great hands on Henry Griffith.
And there is Manhasset's head coach, Keith Cromwell, 9th season at the helm. 1997 graduate of Hicksville High School, a 116-29 overall record. Former Nassau County champ, Rutgers all-time leading scorer as well. Assistant coaches Nick Armstrong, his DC, Stephen Teague, his OC, and Joe Fallon, part of that coaching staff as well.
Yeah, Coach Cromwell has done a really good job. You know, you look up and you see 9-5. This is a younger group. This is a group with a really tough schedule. He's done a really good job this year.
It is Southside. It is Manhasset. We'll have keys and the opening face-off when we return here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
I'm Scott Gegerson, certified financial planner, former collegiate athlete, and founder of Truvium Wealth Management. We're a full-service financial planning firm serving families throughout Nassau County and beyond. With college now one of the biggest expenses a family will face, right up there with purchasing a home, I specialize in helping parents not just save for college, but how to pay for it, so that you could send your student to the school of their choice without jeopardizing your retirement or long-term goals. Visit TruviumWealth.com or scan the QR code to learn more.
High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships.
It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media. Hey parents, Varsity Media is now offering ISO video of just your athlete. Why settle for the wide angle that shows every player on the field? With our ISO video, your athlete is front and center the entire game. This footage will help in creating highlight videos for college coaches to better pinpoint your athlete's play on the field. Watching our video will help your athlete improve progressively throughout the season and may lead to a college scholarship. Varsity Media is now booking ISO videos for the spring, but spots are limited. Contact us today for lacrosse, baseball, softball, and tennis by calling 516-403-2050 or emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
And we welcome you back to Ed Walsh Field.
Good. Yep.
Dylan Butler and Tom Rooney with you here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. A rematch of last year's county final, and that is something not lost on this Manhasset team, at least the guys certainly who were part of that, you know, and you go back a year ago and it's like a dramatic win over Garden City, and then they played a tight one. We'll have some highlights later on in the show, but a close game against Southside. Southside pulls away, and they win the county championship, but it was a sour taste for a lot of these Manhasset guys.
Yeah, I mean, we looked at the highlights earlier this week. That was a really close game. I don't think people understand because then Southside goes on that run to the state championship, but that game was hanging in the balance. I mean, Manhasset was on such a good roll there after defeating Garden City, and it did get away from them, and they're not happy about it. You know, they felt like they lost an opportunity there at another county championship.
Tom, let's take a look at the keys to the game for both of these teams.
Yeah, we'll start with Southside. You know, they've had these up and down games in these cardiac, you called them the cardiac cycles. They just want to get off to a good start and not get behind.
At least for head coaches, like he doesn't, you know, they're trying to kill him. He said.
Right. Yeah, he's right. He said.
So just for his health, at least.
Yeah, let's do it for coach, right? His health. Obviously, limit their turnovers. And he said we're going to be very basic with some of this stuff. But you know, with a young team, you want to stay in the moment and just get to the next play. If it's a mistake, just get past it and move on. And if you're Manhasset, they want to be better with their 6-on-6 offense. Obviously, some of their opponents really good defensively in the box, but they feel like they could be better and need to be better. They got to win their matchups here with this Southside team with some of the really good offensive players that Southside's going to roll out. And then they want to be better in the clear. They felt like all year it just hasn't been as crisp and as clean as Coach Cromwell would have liked.
Also, as part of that improved 6-on-6, also what Cromwell said is they want improvement in the power play as well. And
right.
You know, he's one of the best certainly at being able to teach that. As we take a look now at the face-off X. And you see on the left, Alex Nataro, the sophomore, 55% of the season. And Bo Dillmeyer, that was his percentage a year ago. This year has been really good for a freshman. Think about it, too, for Dillmeyer at 73%. Out of 2 of his last 3 games, had a face-off against Cascadon and then Quinn Ball.
Yeah, look, it's paid off.
It certainly has. They go quick, and the shot was wide by Colin.
Yeah, you go against Cascadon and Quinn Ball, you're going against 2 of the best, not only seniors, but you're going against 2 of the best in the country. And you can see it's sped them up. Nice job by Dillmeyer getting possession.
So Palumbo gets things started. And leader, as Manhasset will swing it around.
Manhasset likes to run a little set play here, usually on an opening possession. Some swing picks, and here comes leader. Snuffed out by Southside there. Nice job.
Dylan Shear throws a short stick, couple shoves. Shear stays on, takes the cross check from behind. That was Colin Kenny from Southside. And there is Doc. Daniel O'Connor lowers the shoulder, takes a shot. First save by DeSarlo.
Yeah, really good look for O'Connor. Turns the corner, goes low, and DeSarlo all over it. And you see that quickness with his hands on that first shot.
So good clear for Southside. There is Lynch. We joked with Cromwell, you've got to deal with back-to-back games yelling about a Lynch on the other side.
Right. And Cullen Lynch is the guy that has come back with the most experience. But at this point in the season, this Southside team, this group that's out there, has a lot of experience. They played very well. Brendan Vetter with the ball here has been the party starter, usually gets the short stick matchup.
And there goes Vetter. Pumps the brakes. That's a good matchup that he's got there, too, with Melkonian, one of our impact players. And there is Lynch. Lynch lowers his shoulder, goes BTB off the post.
Yeah, really good look there. Creases his angle, and here's a Lucy.
And the GB in midfield goes Manhasset's way. Out of the box, Cooper Harley, 27, has been injured, the junior.
Yeah, Harley's a good athlete, good dodger. They're happy to get him back.
Here comes O'Connor, gets topside. They'll now set the pick, and they'll reverse it. There's Harley on the ball. Gets knocked down by Lynch. Flag is thrown, so that man up that Manhasset wants to work on, they'll get a 1-minute trip.
Yeah, it looks like they got a little tangled up there. The Southside coaching staff didn't like it, but he took him down, and we see early on Cullen Lynch's creativity and his ability to get shots off, and you just see there he takes down Harley. That's a penalty, and this is a unit that needs to be better. This Manhasset man-up unit. Watch for Connor Sheeran inside, number 9. Great finisher, a guy they like to get the ball inside.
There he is. And in what ended up being a physical game, step-down shot by Leader was wide. But in a game that was physical, chippy, some penalties on both sides, Manhasset had their fair share of man-up opportunities, a few of them locked in as well, and again, Chaminade unable to capitalize. Great stick check, yard sale as well. Good takeaway by Muscarella.
Yeah, you see Muscarella right there with the trail check on Tommy Leader. Could not complete the clear.
So 19 seconds left on the man up for Manhasset. Dylan Shear. So far, only that one shot. Skip pass, and there goes Colin to X. Palumbo. We are even, and O'Connor buries the bucket.
It's not going to go down as a man-up goal as the penalty released, but that's a great job with the man-up. Ball movement. One more we're going to see on the replay here. Here's Palumbo with the one more over to O'Connor. Great handle and just a laser into the top right corner. You see Southside spinning right here, late on the rotation, hands-free, 1-0.
So for Doc, the Colby commit, goal number 13 on the season. Nataro pushes it forward, and he'll win that face-off.
And Coach DiPietro told us that Nataro has been on a heater, as exactly what he said. He has faced off really, really well. You see his skill right there.
And there's Vetter. Here's Hawthorne. Came back to Southside from Chaminade. There's Jack Muscarella at X. Up to Hawthorne. Good size for the sophomore.
Yeah, patient offense right here. Trying to spin it. You got Lynch.
Lynch! Bring in the heat.
And this is what he does best, Dylan. He can really bring it. Great job. You were talking about Hawthorne with his good size, seeing over the top here. He rolls, and he just skips this ball over to Lynch. Gets Fitzpatrick there with a little hitch, and then the rest is just him. That is an absolute laser.
For Lynch, the Iona commit, goal number 33 on the season. Hawthorne gets assist number 13, and Nataro gets his second face-off win.
Yeah, Nataro showing good athleticism there, getting out of trouble. You and I talked about this before. On this field, we would watch Cal Gerard and how athletic he was with the ball. It wasn't so much just winning the face-off, but getting away from pressure, and you see Nataro do it there.
And we spoke about it off air before the start as that one hit the turf. It'll be Manhasset ball. There is no relation between Cullen and Gavin Lynch, even though they're both from Rockville Center.
Right.
But they do have something in common in just the velocity on their shots.
Yeah, both shoot the ball extremely hard. And you see a takeaway there by Eric Saluro. Great job getting a stick in a passing lane. Looks like they tied up his stick, and now we have Manhasset possession.
Yeah, Saluro has been so much better, so improved with his stick work this season. We saw that even in Reegs Rock as well.
Get a good look at Dylan Shear there. Shear is a glider. He just kind of effortlessly runs down the field. Manhasset has good ball movement early in this game.
Leader, Palumbo, and that's a shot that he didn't take man up in the last game. And that's something that Cromwell was like, shoot, he's a sophomore. Right. That's a good look for him to take right there.
Yeah, nice job by Leader drawing two, getting the one more there. And here is Colin with a good look. Yeah, if you're Palumbo, you can't pass up good opportunities. Doesn't matter if you're a sophomore or not. You got to shoot that ball.
So just that early confidence, that's a good sign. They'll operate from X. It's a nice swim move going high, and DeSarlo got a piece.
Great hustle on the backup by both guys. What a great move there. I think that was Dylan Shear on the swim. We got a shot clock reset.
You've waited so long to say that.
Yeah, I'm so happy. You know, I mean, this shot clock has changed the whole game of high school lacrosse. And, you know, I love watching teams now defensively. Can you dig in and play the next 60 seconds? Because it feels long. It used to be kind of normal, but now that second 60 feels like you're out there a long time. You really mentally got to dig in.
Here's Colin. And you know what the other side of it, too, is? For teams like Manhasset that ride so well, it sets up your ride as well. Like if you don't have a shot, last few seconds, dump it in the corner, let's go ride it back.
Yeah.
Colin, the bouncer.
Yeah, and I think that's a direct result of the second 60 shot clock right there. Colin finding a different spot. He had dodged from X. Now all of a sudden you roll him up top. You have your defender who's not quite sure where he is on the field, allowing Colin to get to his right hand. And when he gets to his right hand, good things happen. Strong kid, headed to Navy. You see him just run through that check. Great overhand shot there into the corner.
Yeah, perfect placement for the senior. Was all county a year ago. Goal number 32 on the season. Gives Manhasset the 2-1 lead. And the heater that Notaro has been on continues. Took a shot. We go the other way now.
Yeah, that's Michael DiPietro. He is tough. The sophomore handles that pressure right there. And you had Notaro win another one out quickly, and it looks like his shot got deflected there. Nice job by Griffith picking it up and getting it out.
And that's one of those where it's, you know, maybe you concede the face-off, but look who's got possession now, right? So
right.
That's part of the game as well.
And if you're Southside and you're Coach DiPietro, you're saying, I thought we talked about getting off to a faster start, and here we are down 2-1, and feels like Manhasset's had the ball a long time.
And they do have the shot edge as well, and look at Doc operating out there.
Yeah, we talked about Tommy Leader in the opener, and I said when Tommy Leader plays well, this offense plays well. You're going to see him on a great dodge. He gets the short stick matchup here, and he gets to the middle of the field, draws the slide. Doc does a great job of popping off, getting himself in space. You're going to see it right here. It gets the step. You see Doc pop behind him. Look at the hands ready. Boom. That's great offense right there by Manhasset.
Seconds of the game for O'Connor. Give Leader the assist. And a really good start for Manhasset. They're up 3-1. This time wing play gets involved. And Fitzpatrick, the LSM, gets the face-off win for Manhasset.
Yeah, you just said there's different ways to deal with the face-off. One of them is to be really good off the wings. That time Fitzpatrick, really good athlete there, come flying in, one-time ground ball. And even though Notaro's kind of had the best of it, it's Manhasset who's dominating possession right now.
And even shots, too, 9-3 unofficially right now, the shot advantage for Manhasset. Here comes O'Connor, already with a pair of goals in this first quarter.
Yeah, so a good look, though, at Benfonte right there, one of the better D-middies around. Does a good job on O'Connor.
And now it's Colin.
Yeah, Colin loves bringing this defender up top, getting him into kind of that odd space for a close defender up by the top of the box.
Colin took a high check. That's a great look. And top cheddar for Connor Sheeran.
Manhasset is doing a really good job right now moving off ball. Colin, so strong, drives hard, draws the double, and then he drags the double behind right here. You see him. And then Sheeran just moving without the ball. Such a smart inside player. I mentioned him before on Man Up. He doesn't need, to be an extra guy. He's going to move inside. That's where he operates.
Connor Sheeran goal number 32 on the season. And Colin, such a well-balanced attackman, his 25th assist.
Colin does such a good job of playing with his head up always. You know, he'll gladly throw it to you. He's always got his head up, and then he can just go himself. Such a complete player.
This time it's Mikey Beschel in there. We would expect to see a good amount of him. Face-off win, though, for Notaro.
Yeah, and that's really Benfonte there, getting that ball out of the pile. Just an excellent athlete. Coach DiPietro sings his praises, thinks he's one of the top D middies around.
And already we're kind of at an important possession here for Southside because there hasn't been many for the Cyclones.
Yeah, first look at Tyler Samrani, the big lefty. And you're right, it feels like they haven't had the ball in a while. Feels like they got to make something positive out of this possession.
Hawthorne with a fortunate skip that got to Lynch. Now Lynch will direct traffic.
Yeah, Lynch doesn't get many short sticks, so he's going to go at this matchup.
That's a bouncer that got blocked in front.
Lynch, the shooter.
Yeah, the short stick matchup for that one was Melkonian. Luke Mullen. Mullen somehow finds his way through. That sidearm shot, though, is wide.
Yeah, 7 on the shot clock here. They're going to have to go fast. Looks like they're going to lock Cullen Lynch, not let him get the ball. Muscarella may just dump this, and he will.
Yep.
We haven't mentioned Luke Mullen up into that possession, but probably the top offensive player this year for Southside, not probably, but stats-wise is. Got a quick look at his release. He is a great bad shot shooter. He goes into places where you kind of go, no, 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 and then it's yes. You saw it there. He got the shot off, just wasn't able to connect.
And a good clear there for Manhasset, as it was O'Connor. Good patience as well by Griffith.
Yeah, it's something they talked about. They want to be better at it. He felt Griffith would be a piece of that, very good in the clearing game.
Coming downhill, Shear. Wow, wide open, Palumbo! Philly P!
Yeah, you want to get the young sophomore going. Put him inside and throw him the ball where he's 4 feet in front of the cage. Look at this by Shear. Just glides past his guy. Such a good job by Shear here. And watch Palumbo, the lefty with his right hand. That's a lot of confidence. That's got to really feel good for that young man.
The 8th goal of the year for Palumbo, and Syosset has called timeout. Southside, excuse me. Did I say Syosset? But it was Syosset just, 2 games ago, right? That built a big
comeback,
lead against Southside. And Coach DiPietro said, I didn't like the start of the first quarter. I didn't like the second quarter. I didn't like the third quarter in that game. And all of a sudden, 8 goals later in the fourth quarter, a miracle comeback resulted in a win for Southside.
And I'm sure Coach Cromwell is mentioning that in the huddle right now. It's nice to be up, by this score early. You're up 5-1. You're playing well, but this game is far from over, and I'm sure that's being mentioned. You know what I like early about this Manhasset offense is assisted goal.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Assisted goal. I think we had one take by Colin unassisted, and the others have been really good offense, guys playing with their head up.
Well, you mentioned assisted goals. Well, 60% of their goals are assisted. We have a big one coming up on Thursday.
Really?
I know you're going to be there. You won't be in the booth with us. You'll be rooting on your son Danny and what should be an outstanding game. St. Anthony Chaminade, the NSCHSAA AAA Championship, presented by Catholic Health. Join us live at 4:45. We'll have a 15-minute lead up to the opening face-off for that one. And then it's one of the most anticipated games, dare I say, in the country. St. Anthony Chaminade, 2 of the top 10 teams in the country, going for the title.
2 great teams. It's going to be a really good one.
Notaro with the face-off win there inside the final minute of a really good first quarter for Manhasset.
And if you're Southside, you'll feel a whole lot better about this first quarter. You win a face-off, gain possession under a minute to go, and you're able to come out with a goal here. You'd feel a lot better going into that break with a goal.
And I think even if you don't want to give up a goal.
Right.
Right, so let's keep possession, I think, for the Cyclones. Get a good shot, but don't give up possession.
Yeah, there's about 24 on the game clock. They're just about the same, so they're going to try to get this last possession here. I'd be surprised if we don't get some big little action with either Lynch or Mullen off ball here.
Vetter, quick first step. Takes on Melconi and fires it high, and Griffith makes the save.
Yeah, Griffith read that all the way.
And that will do it for the first quarter. A really good first quarter for Manhasset coming off that Reeves Rock loss. Manhasset has come to play, and their doc, the doctor is in.
Yeah, you got to look at leader here, head up, Doc pops, and that's it.
What's up, Doc?
What's up, Doc?
2 goals for O'Connor, and it's Manhasset with the 5-1 lead after 1. You're watching it here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Jalen Brunson. You're watching Varsity Media.
I'm Scott Gegerson, certified financial planner, former collegiate athlete, and founder of Truvium Wealth Management. We're a full-service financial planning firm serving families throughout Nassau County and beyond. With college now one of the biggest expenses a family will face, right up there with purchasing a home, I specialize in helping parents not just save for college, but how to pay for it, so that you could send your student to the school of their choice without jeopardizing your retirement or long-term goals. Visit TruviumWealth.com or scan the QR code to learn more.
Parents, your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
Back to Ed Walsh Field, set for the opening face-off of quarter number 2. Mikey Beschel in there against Notaro. And Notaro looked like he was going to win it, but there's Beschel to get the GB. And it's Manhasset ball.
Yeah, that's probably the 3rd time that Notaro has won the clamp cleanly, and Manhasset has been able to come up with the ground ball, and that's got to be killing Coach DiPietro over there.
And that's one thing that they weren't at. Like, they did get to scrap it up a little bit with Quinn Ball, but he's such a tactician that he was able to get those loose balls. But these, at least to this point, Manhasset have been able to claim. Here's Colin at X. Draws Muscarella. They slide his way. Spins out of it. Gets it on top to O'Connor.
Nice job by Muscarella, and here's Shear in some space here.
Against the short stick. Gets right by him. Shear! Sheer speed.
Yeah, you called it. That's a speed dodge right there. I mentioned I watched this kid run, and I always feel like he's gliding, and he just accelerates. Not a lot of angle either. That's a really nice job. You can see where he gets this shot off. He goes overhand, and he really puts it on a good spot off stick on DeSarlo.
9th goal of the year for Dylan Shear, who Cromwell calls an old school throwback.
Yeah, he logs a lot of minutes. He's an excellent defensive midfielder. Sometimes they put him on wings. He's everywhere.
Was sorely missed in that playoff run last year for Manhasset. Beschel goes forward, clean win, and they'll go quick. Low to low, that shot by Sheeran.
Sheeran, the shooter.
Yeah, the backup to Manhasset, and again, another Manhasset possession here. If you're Southside, you got to find a way to get a stop. Manhasset's running sets right now where they're getting a lot of open looks, and it looks like they're going to jump in the zone, and I think it's probably a pretty good move. They're struggling to win matchups one-on-one, see if they can slow down this Manhasset offense with the zone.
O'Connor up top.
Yeah, good patience right here by Manhasset. Southside feels very long right now. They got a lot of big defenders, sticks up. Daniel Colin, we talked about his head up. This is where zones get in trouble as they...
And a turnaround shot there by Palumbo.
Yeah,
At some point...
Yeah, I was going to say as they get carried, they get in trouble, but they got out of it.
At some point against the zone, you've got to find someone either in the crease or in the high crease, and that was the case late there with Palumbo.
Yep. Get a good look at Benfonte right there using his speed.
Yeah, punt return clear for Benfonte.
Benfonte, you're clear for Southside.
The good news for Southside is, if there is good news in a game where you're down 6-1, is you've been here before,
yeah.
right? And you know you can come back. They got a lot of firepower. They got to get Mullen involved. They got to get, and there's Mullen.
That shot wide.
And they got to get Lynch the ball with some good matchups here.
And as you said, they've done it too much for their coach's liking, but they do have that ability. They showed it in their last 2 wins against South Syosset as well as Wantagh. That overtime win against Wantagh. That was an errant feed to the crease, which makes it a 50-50 ground ball. Great battle by Kelly, and it heads to DePietro. And here comes Manhasset with some speed, but now they'll slow things down. They get the clear. Another possession.
Yeah, really good job. I think that was Melconi in there on the clear.
And there's Colin. His future home will be home to one of the doubleheaders for the quarterfinals down in Annapolis for the NCAAs coming up this weekend. The other 2 games at Hofstra.
Yeah, that place may get a little crowded this Saturday.
And Thursday.
Yeah.
It's I won't even call it the appetizer to it, right? It's like a Vincent's Clam Bar appetizer, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot there for St. Anthony's and Chaminade.
Yeah, what a great couple of days for the Long Island lacrosse community. Big time games. Good ball movement here by Southside.
And then that shot by Muscarella.
That's a ground ball that Southside really needed. On the other end, you had a moving pick on Manhasset. That's what caused the loss of possession.
That was blocked in front. Shot was by Hawthorne.
They got numbers here.
And then an errant pass.
Got numbers.
That'll stay with Southside.
And we're going to get a man up here for Southside.
Yeah, that was on that hit in front. It'll be a 1-minute man up with Melconian in for Manhasset. So first look here, Tom, at the Southside man up unit.
Yeah, you got a nice group of lefties out here with Lynch, Mullen, Muscarella, and a very balanced attack. And Lynch and Mullen are obviously the 2 big-time shooters.
And as on cue, Lynch Fires it wide.
Yeah, they didn't complicate it too much, right? Lynch is open, throw it to him, let him go.
Low to high look by Mullen.
And if you haven't watched Southside before, this is what they do. These guys are going to, get their hands free, and they're going to rip shots. They're going to find the back of the cage at some point. I think Coach would like to see it sooner rather than later.
And Lynch actually was trying to feed the crease. And Griffith comes up with it.
Yeah, a little miscommunication there. I think they thought Lynch was going to shoot that.
And a timeout called by Manhasset with Shear getting out to midfield. It's a clear. I want to remind folks that the 2025 Nassau County playoffs, it is all right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Go to varsitymediapass.com to order. We are the exclusive rights holders to all of Nassau County's biggest games. We will be at Matamet Field, at Adelphi, we'll be at Stewart Stadium, we'll be at Farmingdale State College, whether it's baseball, softball, girls or boys lacrosse, all that can be found on varsitymediapass.com. And this is the time of year, right, where you wind down the regular season and start looking ahead at the playoffs, and certainly both of these teams have high aspirations when it comes to postseason lacrosse. Of course, that's always the case when you wear that Manhasset uniform, an incredible, rich history. And Tom, there's just a little bit of the look of that legacy.
Yeah, the numbers are staggering, right? You look at all-time wins, 1,126, just a ridiculous number. 6 New York State titles, a bunch coming under Coach Cromwell in 2022 and 2023, the Long Island Championships, and obviously the Nassau County Championships. Just one of the best programs in the country year in, year out.
And with that comes pressure for coaches and players alike.
Look at Colin right through the double team. Southside is still man up here. They're man up for another about 5 seconds. So nice job by Colin breaking that.
So we are even now.
Southside's going to jump back into that zone.
And now what Manhasset will do is they'll try to get some numbers in front. You see Sheeran and Palumbo movement off the ball.
Yeah, and if you're Manhasset with a 6-1 lead, you don't have to go early and you don't have to force it. You can take your time, work on your zone offense here. Wait till this shot clock gets low enough to where you have to, press a little bit, look inside. Sheeran's usually the guy inside they go to.
And that attempted pass was knocked down, and Southside comes away with it.
Gamberg, it looks like.
Yeah, Braden Gamberg, the senior Wagner commit. Gamberg still on it. Gamberg, pole goal!
You want some juice? You want some juice? This team needed some juice. Gamberg sensed it. You called it, the senior.
That's the Tropicana from Costco. That's the really big one.
Look at this. He even runs through a double with the pole. That is such a good job by him. I mean, you could tell about halfway, Dylan. He was like, I am going to the cage, and just pure determination there. Such a good job. Those are the kind of goals that gets everybody going. You're down 6-1. You kind of say, hey, guys, let's go, right? And we'll see how Southside reacts.
His third of this season. Remember, too, he was the starting LSM, and then when Mullen got hurt, moved to close D, but he's got that ability, right?
Right. Yeah, he can run the field, the D1 commit there. Now you get the face-off, and that 6-1 lead, now it's 6-2, and now Southside with a chance to cut it to 3.
So perhaps some momentum for the visitors from Rockville Center. Muscarella to Mullen. 44 goals on the season for Luke Mullen as a sophomore. Gets it back, low to low, Mullen!
45. Manhasset sitting in his zone, and you could just see this. It's such a high IQ by Colin Lynch, seeing how the defender's trying to play too. He plays Mullen, he throws it to Lynch. Lynch just throws it right back to him, right? He says, whoop, there you go, you're open. Great job, right to the 5-hole. And that Gamberg goal seems to have woken up Southside, and now we got a 3-goal game.
That's smart there too, right? Used Kelly as a screen.
Yeah, the great shooters do that, right? You get an approach, you shoot right off the hip.
Notaro picks it up. And Southside will utilize their second timeout of this first half. We showed you some of the history, by the numbers. Here's a look at some of those for Southside. Obviously not the rich history that Manhasset has, but they're building it, man.
Yeah. Well, the good news is if you win the Nassau,
yeah,
it bodes well.
It is guaranteed.
Right? You're going to win a state. I mean, listen, we had a lot of their games, Dylan, over the last couple of years, and we were all kind of watching that senior group build to what happened last year, and I don't think anybody could have scripted it any better. But it was really important for them to come back this year, at the coaching staff, the kids, and the community, to show that this is a program and not just a team. And listen, this is a really good hotbed area. They're always dealing with kids going, off to Chaminade, and, coach has done a good job of kind of limiting that, and welcoming guys back, and saying, hey, if it's not for you, we're ready to take you back. And him and his staff, Coach Martello, they've done a really good job there.
Some of Martello, the DC. I got John DiTomaso there as well, Mike Bryan. Some of those All-Americans, we just showed you that number, right? Michael Aiello and Melkonian from last year. Owen West as well. Nick Lacalzi was a 2-time All-American as a defender. Joe Lacalzi as well. Go all the way back to Michael Hughes back in 1999, the first Southside All-American.
Yeah, all guys who've been super successful, too, at the next level. This is a little bit of trouble here. Yeah, Ben Fonte's so good at that.
Yeah.
Where's that hop?
In case of trouble, right? Just give it to him. And Hawthorne really, really impressed with the sophomore. And that's the thing, too. They're finding success with a lot of young bucks out there.
Yep. First time around. I mean, Manhasset's staying in this zone, which is a little dangerous with some of these shooters like Mullen and Lynch.
And there's Mullen. Feed to Lynch. Spinning there is Muscarella. Griffith, the save. That was a long distance chance from Mullen.
Nice look by Melkonian. Middle of the field.
Colin with the GB. Such a jitterbug out there.
Yeah. He looks like a running back every time he carries the ball like that. He's just weaving in and out of traffic. And if you're Southside, it's not a terrible look. Mullen's your leading goal scorer. Griffith just saw that shot all the way.
Colin being a traffic cop there at X. And here comes Shear downhill.
If you're Southside, this zone has kind of slowed Manhasset down. They're going to stick in it. They're going to see if they can kind of force Manhasset now to kind of speed themselves up a little bit. See them passing off defenders. Got to be careful.
And they get burned. Colin, top shelf.
That's the danger when you play zone. When guys carry the zone and guys go with them, you open up the backside. Manhasset, great job of recognition. You see O'Connor throw back to Leader, and there's Leader with the very quick one more. Tommy Leader knows he's throwing that ball before it even comes to him. He feels the rotation. That's high IQ, and Daniel Colin is not going to miss from there.
second goal of the game, 33rd on the season. Takes away some of that momentum that Southside had built up.
Yeah, that's one of those deep breath goals right there. You feel a little bit better, and they're going to get a push here and get another possession.
So Dillmeyer gets the face-off win. The collective between he and Mikey Beschel, 5th face-off win so far.
Yeah, those two guys just seem to scrap it out. You know, they seem to figure it out. They're not too worried about when they lose a clamp or the ball comes out. They're going after it, riding it back. They've done a nice job of being complete players at the face-off X.
And between the two of them, you've got Dillmeyer as a freshman and Beschel as a sophomore.
Good ball movement here from Manhasset. Here's this carry. And you know when Colin carries, he's gonna get the attention of the defense.
Yeah, which means that somebody else a little bit closer to goal does not have it.
That's right. Now you got O'Connor.
Look at Sheeran, though. The skip, step down, Palumbo.
This is great offense, great ball movement, and it makes you feel pretty good for this young guy who maybe passed up a few of these shots against Chaminade, but look at that. Great job of climbing the ladder, gets up on his toes. Watch this. This is how you shoot a ball right there, overhand. That's a really nice job by Palumbo.
Yeah, Daniel O'Connor will get the assist. And for Palumbo, his 2nd of the game, 9th of the season. And Dillmeyer, another face-off win. Final minute of the first half. And Manhasset will utilize their 2nd timeout of this first half. Let's take a look. Right, it's kind of college season. You're starting to think about it, right? Maybe even figure out what we need to get for the dorm. Here's a few guys, next level guys for Manhasset.
Yeah, you get a look, you know, the guy that jumps out for me is Kip Zachariah. Unfortunately, with the ACL injury, I mean, he is a top defender in that class, that 2026 class. There's also Brian Riley, who's not on this list, who's headed up to Wesleyan, who came back from Chaminade, unfortunately hurt his knee during football season. You know, if you're a college coach, obviously Manhasset High School is a place you love to recruit from. You know the kids have great IQ, great passion for the game.
That third, so Zachariah, Riley, and then the third season-ending knee injury before the season even started was Gianluca Milazzo. So all 3 guys sorely missed for this Manhasset team.
Yeah, it tells you a lot, though, about the depth of this program with guys able to step up. And, you know, if you're watching this game, you don't think they've missed a beat. I mean, Their defense has played excellent. The offense is humming right now. Good timeout by Coach Cromwell after another face-off win. You had Dillmeyer there. The freshman maybe running himself into the corner. You bail him out with a timeout. And now you have the ability to run out this half and maybe get another one right before the half.
So final seconds here of this first half. 5 different goal scorers for Manhasset right now.
Yeah, it's been a crisp half of offense, a lot of ball movement, a lot of assisted goals. I know you'll get to that when we do the halftime stats, but I've been really impressed with their ability to play with their head up and share the ball.
Sheeran hands off. They go to the other side to Palumbo.
And it usually starts with Colin, as it does right now.
Yeah, Colin spins, loses it momentarily. GB picked up by Leader. Leader gets topside. Leader. Palumbo, no. But a quality first half for Manhasset. You mentioned the offense humming and, hey, listen, leading the way, right? Danny Colin. The future midshipman, 2 goals in this first half for Colin as his crew have an 8-3 lead at the break. You're watching it all right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
I'm Scott Gegerson, certified financial planner, former collegiate athlete, and founder of Truvium Wealth Management. We're a full-service financial planning firm serving families throughout Nassau County and beyond. With college now one of the biggest expenses a family will face, right up there with purchasing a home, I specialize in helping parents not just save for college, but how to pay for it, so that you could send your student to the school of their choice without jeopardizing your retirement or long-term goals. Visit TruviumWealth.com or scan the QR code to learn more.
Pole goal, yes! A man down pole goal as well. Busking, the skip somehow found its way through. BTB and a save.
At the buzzer, we have
The Long Island Lacrosse Showcase is the premier opportunity for the high school players from Long Island to be recognized for their lacrosse skills. For over a decade, this event has been widely recognized as the premier event for exposure before college coaches of all levels. Players showcase their abilities while competing to earn a spot to represent their county in the Long Island Showcase Nassau versus Suffolk Games. Hosted in collaboration with the high school lacrosse coaches of Nassau and Suffolk counties, the Long Island Lacrosse Showcase had over 90 college coaches attend various rounds of the showcase. Make sure to register today.
Two-man game. Nice save up high.
For all the latest Varsity Media updates, including our game schedules, be sure to follow us on social media at Varsity Media, the home for New York high school sports. High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships.
It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Hey parents, Varsity Media is now offering ISO video of just your athlete. Why settle for the wide angle that shows every player on the field? With our ISO video, your athlete is front and center the entire game. This footage will help in creating highlight videos for college coaches to better pinpoint your athlete's play on the field. Watching our video will help your athlete improve progressively throughout the season and may lead to a college scholarship. Varsity Media is now booking ISO videos for the spring, but spots are limited. Contact us today for lacrosse, baseball, softball, and tennis by calling 516-403-2050 or emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
This is Jalen Brunson. You're watching Varsity Media.
Parents, your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net.
For the latest news in high school sports, be sure to check out varsitymedia.net or follow us on social media at Varsity Media.
When it comes to live streaming, Varsity Media does it all. Athletic events, concerts, musicals, graduations, even weddings. Trust Varsity Media when it comes to your live stream event. Contact us today to learn more about Varsity Media's live streaming services at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media is now opening up our schedule to any team looking to be on a sportscast. Watching yourself on camera is okay, but hearing your name on a Varsity Media sportscast is like you're a pro.
And look at this opportunity. Feldman behind. Jersey pulled. Feldman! Feldman!
The loose ball, Keyshawn White has it. He's just going to let it fly. Oh! Keyshawn White from half court. That is cash! What a way to end the third quarter.
Look at this. Merrill. No slide. No problem. Gary Merrill goes top corner.
Varsity Media offers sports coverage for any sport, and our coverage airs live and on demand so everyone can watch the game. Now is the time to be a star on Varsity Media. Contact us to book a sportscast today at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for upcoming schedules and content, and on social media at Varsity Media.
Merrill, he's got room to go. Merrill towards the end zone. Lost his lid. Touchdown!
JJ Damo, face on, stay on athlete. Controlling the face-off X 3 in a row now.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is 75,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
Back here at Ed Walsh Field, wrapping up halftime as it's Manhasset with an 8-3 lead over Southside. Dylan Butler, Tom Rooney, our entire Varsity Media crew. And Tom, let's take a look at some of those first half stats in this one.
Yeah, and obviously what sticks out to you is, Manhasset's less than 50% at the face-off X, but yet is got a 5-goal lead, and they've really figured out how to, equalized those face-off losses. And then, 18 shots to 14, it seems like they dominated the possessions, they dominated offense. And I think what really stuck out to me was the assist. 6 assists on 8 shots.
On 8 goals, yeah. And you look at the scoring for Manhasset balanced. Colin, Palumbo, and O'Connor with 2 apiece. We've got Sheeran and Shear with 1 each. And you mentioned the assist. Colin with 1, Palumbo with 1, O'Connor with 1, Leader with 2, and Shear with 1 as well. Southside scoring. You've got Luke Mullen, Colin Lynch, and then Braden Gamberg. One of those things is not like the other.
Right.
And Gamberg with the long pole getting it done. And we thought perhaps that was a juice moment, an opportunity to get some momentum, but Manhasset did a good job managing that and getting it back their way. Back to the face-off X, and it goes to Melkonian. He's got some numbers here. Melkonian, good look. The one more, Palumbo!
What a great job running the break there, Melkonian. Very, very patient. They didn't slide off Colin on the point, and you see they slid off Sheeran. Sheeran with a nice one more, really unselfish, and Palumbo with the dunk. Melkonian freezes that defense right there. Great job by Melkonian. And then there's Palumbo. A hat trick for the young guy.
Yes, sir. 3 and 1 for Palumbo. And Nataro. Face-off win for the Cyclones.
We talked about this earlier, Dylan. Southside has been here before, but it's not a place that you like to go to, right? You don't want to be down 5 goals. You don't want to be down 6 goals. This is kind of where they've lived in the past couple of weeks. They have found ways to come back, and that has to give them confidence going forward here.
There's Vetter.
Oh, what a dodge.
Yeah, great one. I think Griffith got a piece.
Vetter there showing a lot of shake. Gets underneath. Griffith denies him.
Melkonian to O'Connor. Melkonian following a line of really good short stick D middies out of Manhasset.
Yeah, we highlighted him. Coach really wanted to talk about him. He's that guy who does so much for this team. He's physical. He's fast. He's done a really nice job. We've seen him on the break, picking up ground balls. When you have a winning program and a winning team, you have guys like that, guys with really good athleticism who are willing to take on that role, you're going to win games.
Here's O'Connor up top.
Southside's in this zone. Manhasset did a good job late in the half against the zone. I think early it might have surprised them. Late in the half, they did a good job of carrying the zone and throwing back to where they came from.
Low shots. That was by Shear. 11 on the shot clock.
Colin very good at back there at X, right? He's like a quarterback overlooking, behind the center. Under 10 now on the shot clock.
And that was an errant pass. And the shot clock violation. So Southside will get the ball from midfield. And Southside, a team on the season averaging 11 goals a game, but almost 64% of those are assisted goals.
They really just haven't had a ton of possessions here tonight, Dylan, to get comfortable. You saw in that opening possession, Vetter get really aggressive, and I think that's what you're going to see now.
Griffith, the save. Loose ball, another one. That shot by Mullen.
It's a great job by Henry Griffith there, tracking that shot from Colin Lynch. Lynch loves that low to high.
And you mentioned the shake by Vetter. We saw a little bit of there again, right? And maybe that was part of what was discussed. As there is Griffith. Just bounces it into space, becomes a 50-50. Some physicality at midfield. Melkonian with the check.
Nice job by Hawthorne there. Tough ground ball. Southside is amped it up a little bit here on that ride. It looks like they almost jumped into a little bit of a 10-man.
John Hawthorne with that ground ball.
Now, interesting here as well, Hawthorne being locked off here.
Yeah, you see Cooper Harley locking him off. I think they're just trying to change the look of the defense. Oh, it's got to be a flag down here. There's too many men. That's why, Dylan.
Yeah,
I'm counting and I'm looking and I'm wondering why.
Hawthorne goes BTB, still alive. Cole Perna, another sophomore. Expect to see him and Luca Icabella. They split time there. Here's Lynch now from behind the cage. Lynch, BTB. Did he get out? He did get it. A little bit of a delayed reaction, but how about that goal?
Yeah, Lynch's first shot of the game was a BTB. We talked about his creativity and his ability to get off shots. You know, you don't score a lot of goals 6-on-7. You got to get creative, and that's just a great shot. And you can see Griffith is screened there. He's almost got two guys in front of him. Great job by Lynch. You know, the Gamberg goal we thought might give them some juice. It gave them some temporary juice. Let's see if that BTB does that for Southside.
34th of the year for Lynch. That was a great look replay-wise as Nataro gets the face-off win. A very small window for Lynch to get through.
Yeah.
Nataro, Fogo goal? No, it bounces. Backup was there, though.
Good job by Nataro taking that pressure to the cage and then staying out of the crease to keep possession with Southside.
You mentioned Cole Perna. Samrani.
First look at number 1, Kieran Vetter, Brendan Vetter's younger brother, the freshman.
That's kind of a second midfield unit on for the Cyclones.
Now this could be an area where you get a juice goal. When your seconds go on and they have a good offensive possession, you can really get the team going.
Nice spin, and Griffith, the denial up high on Muscarella.
That's a really good job by Muscarella there. They got DiPietro out in front of here. And Shear's just going to settle down.
Shear swims. You get it to the sure hands or the sure stick of Danny Colin. Just one more regular season left. Senior night here at Manhasset. Roslyn comes to town. Flag is thrown. The goal is scored. Tommy Leader.
Another one of our highlighted players coming to play. We always love that. Tommy Leader going downhill. Absorbs I think they're going to get a slash here on Samrani. Leader with a great job. Turns the corner, lowers that shoulder. Yeah, he took a check right in the face mask, and then great placement on DeSarlo.
Yes, on and one from Manhasset. It'll be a 1 minute man up for Manhasset. They're 0 for 1 on the EMO.
In our phone call with Coach Cromwell, he mentioned having to be better on man up, and it's too talented of a unit to not be more productive, and now they're going to get another chance at it depending on this face-off here.
And a different look there as well. Benfonte taking that face-off for Southside.
Yeah, I like that. Put your best athlete out there, have him muck it up, and Southside comes up with it. Now they got to clear it.
That's the guy you want to clear the ball. It's Benfonte. So now Southside an opportunity to kill off this man down. But that was all Benfonte, the senior captain. He was one of the few starters right back from last year. Started at D-Midi. We thought early on, again, with guys getting advanced roles, he was getting some of that run in the first midfield as well. But now, with the success that Southside has had, DePietro has been able to keep Benfonte into his more natural role as a short stick D-Midi.
Yeah, and they kill off the penalty. Now we're 6-on-6.
Mullen slide comes his way. That means there's an open shooter. And shooters are going to shoot. Hawthorne.
This is great offense. Mullen comes out of his role. He feels the adjacent slide, and Hawthorne steps into it. You see Mullen right there. Look at the placement on this shot. That is an absolute laser into the top left corner. Great awareness by Mullen. The little lever pass.
We mentioned the assisted goals, right? There's another one for Southside. Mullen gets his 18th assist, and Hawthorne goal number 21.
Yeah, mark that down, Dylan, because that was supposed to be a man up for Manhasset. Southside battles on the face-off, kills off the penalty, and then before the shot clock expires is able to score.
All right, I put a little asterisk next to it.
There you go.
10-5. Let's see what becomes of that from Hawthorne.
With the face-off win off the wing to Southside.
There's another look at Hawthorne. Tall. We see his ability to shoot the ball. Hawthorne takes the hit from behind, still keeps the ball, shows that strength as well. And Lynch saved by Griffith.
Yeah, Griffith does a great job. Lynch goes low to low. You teach your goalies, they drop the head of their stick, you drop down, and that's exactly what Griffith does. And you got Southside here in this press ride. That's DiPietro. He is really tough with the ball, the sophomore long pole. Does such a good job in the clearing game.
It was used last year as a short stick D-Midi at times, but you see his athleticism. Scored a goal earlier this year as well.
Yeah, not the biggest kid, but he's built and he's tough and he's tenacious, and those are great qualities for a defender. Southside's going to stay in this zone. I think they feel like it's their best chance to kind of slow this Manhasset offense down. Last time, because of the clear, they got caught in man, and Leader, was able to take his man and score. So jump back in the zone, see if you can get some throwaways here.
Step down. Zone buster by Sheeran.
Yeah, I love Connor Sheeran's game. I love the way he finds soft spots in the zone. And I think this might be a skip over the top here from Doc. It's a great pass. And you see Sheeran step in there. Yep, and that's exactly there. Look at the shooting motion there. And on a lefty goalie, the bottom right is perfect placement, and that's exactly where Sheeran put it.
33rd of the year for Sheeran. Another assisted goal from Manhasset. O'Connor with 2 and 2. Dillmeyer. Clean face-off win. Went for the goal.
The freshman was feeling it.
Like it.
Yeah, he's got the school out here. It's a beautiful night in Manhasset. Why not? Try to ring one up.
We said it at the open, right? I mean, you go Cascadin and Ball a week apart, you're only going to get better.
Yeah, obviously huge upside for that young man. Not just going against those guys, but getting all this quality time. We know how good Nataro is, and, probably those guys will face each other a lot. But to be a freshman and get the amount of draws that he's getting this year, even though him and Bechel split a lot of time, it's only going to make you better.
There's Sheer up top. Colin.
Skip to Colin here. You just feel like every time Colin has the ball, he's looking.
I'll try to dump it in
Yeah,
front, but
he's just so good. They got caught a little bit late in the shot clock there.
it was a good catch by Samarani. Gets it ahead to Vetter.
Yeah, and if you're Southside, oh, good cut.
Griffith, the save.
Great save.
Denying Schwartzberg.
And I was going to say, if you're Southside, you just got to relax and play. There's a lot of time left. You got a whole quarter.
That's the thing with these guys, right? I mean, maybe some teams get tight with the score, and they have vast experience in these comebacks. Griffith, another save, though.
There's the shot at his shoulder.
Kind of put it out into space. And a timeout called by Manhasset, just to make sure they can kind of keep possession here in the final 90 seconds or so of quarter number 3. We showed you the college commits before for Manhasset. Here are Southside's, but we put a little asterisk next to it because of how young this Southside team is.
Right. And, you know, I look at Colin Lynch going Iona. That Iona program, almost all freshmen this year. Coach Sherman doing a great job. I was just there at Iona. St. Anthony's played Don Bosco. Beautiful campus. The whole team actually showed up to watch and, you know, support lacrosse on their campus. They're going to build a good program there in the MAC. And on the bottom, see Brandon Gamberg, who had the goal earlier, going to Wagner, and that's another program that if you're a good player, you get a chance to go to a place like Wagner, you get a chance to play right away, and I think he's a guy who will do that.
That's a win-win for Iona, right? Like, come on over,
yes.
Check out our campus, here's our facilities, we're on the rise, you get playing time.
And it was a beautiful day. I mean, it really was a big recruiting trip to have two great programs like that on campus.
Another reminder, in 2 days' time, we'll be at Hofstra at Stewart Stadium, which is, for me, one of the best lacrosse facilities in the country. And the big one here, St. Anthony's and Chaminade round 2. Round 1 went to Chaminade. Although St. Anthony's, they battled back. Talk about a team that figured out how to manage a face-off situation. Quinn Ball won almost every face-off that game. And yet it was the Friars with 3 opportunities in the closing seconds to send the game into overtime. Kieran Walsh makes a big save late, and Chaminade ends what was an 8-game losing streak to St. Anthony's. Now the Friars, they are the 5-time defending champions. Chaminade trying to win their first title since 2018 when Pat Kavanaugh went question mark dodge, 3 seconds left. Ball game for the Flyers. And yes, I did do some homework on that.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of big names have played in that matchup. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a huge crowd there at Hofstra. Should be a great game.
Right. What's going to be great too is you're going to have the NCAA stuff in the paint down on the field, and it's going to give it such a great look. Final minute, quarter number 3. That was an errant pass, but good job tracking it down by Colin.
Yeah, plenty of time on the shot clock here.
Well, a little bit sloppy there for Manhasset.
And that's the point of getting into a zone, right? That's what you're hoping for. Them getting a little anxious, seeing opportunities that really aren't there. So 30 seconds for Southside to get a look here.
And they nearly threw it away. Good job by Perna. Perna goes high, and Griffith, another save.
Level save.
We got time here.
Melkonian. Save DeSarlo. The goalies on both sides. Tom coming up with some saves.
Great end-to-end action.
Southside 5.
Southside trying to get back into it, but Henry Griffith says no.
Yeah, King Henry right here, tracking it all the way.
Henry the 8th IM. Another save for him, and it is Manhasset with an 11-5 lead after 3. You're watching it here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network. High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships.
It's time to book a Varsity Media Sportscast and get on the big stage. A Varsity Media Sportscast is seen by thousands of people, both live and on demand, from friends and family all over the world to prospective college coaches. Our announcers will help tell the story of your team and your athletes. There is no bigger stage to be on than Varsity Media. Book a sportscast today by contacting Varsity Media.
For all the latest Varsity Media updates, including our game schedules, be sure to follow us on social media at Varsity Media, the home for New York high school sports.
And back here at Ed Walsh Field, here on the campus of Manhasset High School, getting set here for quarter number 4. Dylan Butler, Tom Rooney, our entire Varsity Media crew. It is Manhasset with an 11-5 lead, as they're looking for a little bit of revenge from last year's county final loss.
And if you're Southside, you're saying we got them right where we want them.
And Nataro starts it off with a face-off win. Yeah, we mentioned it before. Back-to-back games with wild comebacks for Southside. It started against Syosset when they scored 8 in the 4th quarter to win it. And then again, down big to Wantagh. They win that one in overtime.
Yeah, hard to do once. You know, pretty wild to do twice. And they're going to have to do it again here tonight, because Manhasset has come out and played really well.
Hawthorne rolls back to his left. Griffith gets a piece. We'll have a crease violation. Oh, no, he brought it back into his crease, so it'll be Syosset. Keep saying Syosset. It's Southside ball.
Yeah, Southside got a good look there. It looked like Hawthorne rolled to the front. Griffith got a piece of it, and then a little in and out of the crease. And you see Lachlan Fitzpatrick there on Lynch. He's made it really difficult for Lynch to get going here tonight. He's got 2, but you feel like every time he has the ball, there's just so much pressure and attention on him.
Now Kelly comes in. They surround Lynch. And out of that scrum, somehow Muscarella gets the ground ball. And that was a good feed, but out of the stick. So Mullins got to try to track it down. Another important ground ball for Southside. Step down shot wide by Hawthorne.
Yeah, good-looking shot there. Starts with a good ground ball by Perna.
That's the thing, too. When you look at some of the numbers, all of these guys, really good job when the ball's on the turf going after it. You know, Mullen came in with 29 ground balls on the year. Muscarella with 15. As Griffith makes another save. Lynch with 29.
Yeah, that's good defense right there by Manhasset. Another save for Griffith. I really credit DiPietro. He makes Mullen a righty, which is not necessarily Mullen's strength. And Griffith with the save.
So Melkonian with the clear.
We've said that a number of times tonight.
Well, they can maybe get him in the sub game, I thought, for a second as Leader came out. I think it's important here for Manhasset, right? Just realizing the opponent and what they've done. You got to keep this foot on the pedal.
Yeah, you want to play smart here. You don't want to go into a stall and, you know, I love the shot clock. The shot clock really doesn't allow it, but You also don't want to play too passive and then too late into the shot clock where you're forcing stuff. That was actually a good look. Just couldn't handle it inside.
Palumbo picked up the ground ball to keep the possession alive. Here is Colin. Sheeran stings it wide. 10 on the shot clock. And no backup.
Shot clock is done.
So south side. DeSarlo. He too a sophomore.
Yeah, unfortunate right there. Little high from DeSarlo. Normally so steady in the clearing game. That makes it harder to get your comeback going, Dylan. You really need to be clean now almost the rest of the way. And you wonder how long they can sit in the zone. I know they struggled a little bit early with their man-to-man, but every time you go in zone, you basically are conceding 60 seconds to Manhasset.
And it's Manhasset with an 11-5 lead.
Great takeaway there.
Yeah, Gamberg back with it, gets it to DeSarlo. Another opportunity to clear. And I think
Gonna have goalie interference here. Yep.
Yep.
Pretty crafty right there by DeSarlo, the sophomore. Colin was very close to him. He figured, why not? Just throw it, follow through into Colin, and you get an automatic interference.
And he's a guy who waited his turn right. Michael Muscarello, what a great goalie he was for Southside, now at Middlebury. You know, we talk all about the offensive firepower and graduating 213 goals a year ago, but also Muscarello was rock solid in the cage.
Yeah, he was an excellent goalie.
Lefty shot.
Yeah, if you're Southside here, you got to put the foot to the gas. You know, this is not a time that you want to drain the shot clock. You want to win a matchup early, and you want to go.
Here's Muscarella around the screen. Inside roll. Taken away. Kelly with the trail check. And it'll be Manhasset ball.
Yeah, Muscarella got a step. Kelly stays with it and gets the late trail check back to Manhasset.
Kelly's a guy who's had some huge matchups this year. It started early. He got Bauer from Cold Spring Harbor on Saturday, was matched up with James Gillis for Chaminade.
Yeah, and those are the kind of things that only make you better. You're talking about a Michigan commit, a Duke commit. You know, Kelly's a good player, and obviously iron sharpens iron, right? It only will help him down the stretch when you get in those playoff games and you're tasked at stopping maybe the best attackman on the other team.
Maybe a Charlie Coster for Garden City.
It's possible, right? They may run into each other again.
Yeah, Woodstick 142 went to Garden City. Manhasset looking to win the playoff game. That's what they did last year before they lost the Southside in the championship game.
Yeah, and you just felt like Manhasset just got better and better last year as the year went on. Look at Colin. Look at Colin.
Colin, like a top spinning around, somehow keeps the ball, and it ends up with a goal at the far post.
All right, so Colin does his best whirling dervish here. And then it goes out to Leader, and I said this before. Leader knows where he's throwing the ball. The minute he gets it, the slide comes up. Leader throws it down, and then Palumbo from a tough angle. That is awesome.
Palumbo just growing up in front of our eyes here today.
Yeah, that is a half cradle, maybe. Yeah, shoot it. Shoot the arrow.
Fourth of the game. Assist number 3 as well, and the lead now 12-5. Special battles at the face-off X, and Nataro comes away with it. Now you're kind of in make-it-take-it time here for the south side.
Yeah, this matchup has been intriguing. DiPietro and Mullen, these guys actually play together all summer. You talk about knowing a guy. They practice all year together, play in the summer, and DiPietro has been really tough on the leading goal scorer for Southside, Luke Mullen.
And it was Kelly who came in for help and ended up getting Manhasset the ball back again.
I mentioned early on in this game, Dylan, just how impressed I was with the amount of assisted goals from Manhasset. Such a great sign of a team that plays well together and willing to share the ball. You know, often when you get into those playoff games, the other team comes out and says, we're not going to let this guy beat us. Well, when you share the ball like that, it's really hard to do that.
And it's every guy, too, who has scored a goal. They all have an assist or multiple assists in this game. That includes Connor Sheeran. The skip, a little hitch. And losing it was Leader. Now it's a scrum for the ball. Still loose. Flag is thrown. And the shot clock winds down. Let's see what this flag is for.
And looks, yep, we got a slash on Southside.
See the official going.
Oh, contact to the head.
Another look.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
There.
Well, a little extra as well.
Yeah, that's Ben Fonte. He's been battling all night. A little bit of frustration there by him. And if you're Coach Cromwell, this is like a perfect scenario, right? You kind of weathered the storm with a little bit of a comeback from Southside. Your team's playing really well, and now you get to work on your man up. We talked about how Palumbo passed up some shots against Chaminade. He hasn't passed up many tonight. Let's see if we see him on that wing again in this man up.
Here's Colin. There he is. Sheeran! Fire up Freebird! Man up goal.
Really well-designed play there by Manhasset. The ball movement. They pop Sheeran off the crease to give a six-out kind of look. And as the ball spins, you'll see Sheeran come back into the middle. But this time he's not locked. And he just comes with a great front swing here. And Palumbo delivers the ball, and that's really key. Putting that ball right on his stick so he's able to catch and finish.
3 for Sheeran. 34th of the year.
Some kids just have a knack for scoring, Dylan. Sheeran's one of those guys. When you put him inside, he knows how to finish, knows where he is on the field. No wasted movements, right? Catch, bottom corner.
I think when Cromwell and his staff, they go over the film of this one, they're going to love that front six, everybody involved. Everyone scoring, sharing the ball. Griffith making the saves, your battles at the face-off X. A lot of positives to draw from this one. But, of course, again, the game not over yet. Still inside 4 minutes.
Yeah, and if you're this second midfield line that's coming out, Kieran Vetter and Samrani, you want to show your coach that you have the ability to play. You got Schwartzberg out there. You want to get more time? Well, we'll show up here and make something happen here late in this game.
Schwartzberg, QB of the football team. Has Melkonian on him. Samrani has been really good this year as well, right? 11 goals on this season. Big, strong Dodger. Lefty ripped by Kieran Vetter.
Yeah, that had some heat on it for the young guy. Good little shake there, gets his hands free. Inside roll and a finish.
Man, I tell you, don't know if box lacrosse is maybe in his future, right? But how about that movement there?
Yeah, I think that was Matthew Dorenzio there. No angle. I think he almost surprised Griffith with the shot. And it looks like Manhasset just gave a little curtain call to goalie Henry Griffith there. You could hear the crowd in the background. Played very well tonight.
And Brady Balsh now for Manhasset. Dillmeyer, the face-off win. And a timeout taken by Manhasset. And we mentioned, Tom, maybe a little chance here. A sour taste in those who return from Manhasset. We bring you back to Stewart Stadium a year ago as it's Manhasset and Southside. You mentioned this one, a close one. Certainly was early on.
Yeah, I thought Manhasset came to play. They did a great job with their plan. Southside had a little bit of that team of destiny. There's DiPietro with a lefty rip. Saw Aiello earlier. There's Daniel Colon as a junior. They were just battling Manhasset, and then this was the capper here. Aiello just so good. What a great high school player Michael Aiello was. Huge win for the Southside program.
And Southside celebrated their second Nassau County Championship. They went on and beat East Islip in the Long Island Championship 12-9, and then that dramatic 12-11 overtime win over Victor to win their second New York State title.
I was rewatching the highlights on YouTube. What an amazing high school game that was. If you get a chance, if you're a kid and you're on YouTube, look up the Southside Victor State Championship game. Just an amazing, amazing finish.
And now some new personnel on for both teams.
They're challenging you here, Dylan. Get the roster out.
Yeah, I do. That's what I got going here. Of course, Harley we know. Up top, Luke DiPietro.
Manhasset, number 14, Luke DiPietro.
Harley. Count it.
Yeah, we mentioned Cooper Harley early, coming back from injury. This has got to feel good for him. Young man can really shoot it with either hand, and you see that with the left hand, unassisted right down the middle. Kind of eats the check right there. That's a good job.
So Harley gets the goal, his third of the year. And it's kind of wild, too, when you think of the history of these two teams. Manhasset, since 1989, they've got a 20-3 overall edge. But it was Southside with both wins last year.
Right.
So they won 20 of the 21 of the first 21 meetings. Last two, though, of course, went to Southside.
Yeah, and I remember talking to Coach DiPietro, like they had to get over the hump and beat Garden City. And then it was like, it's not like we normally beat Manhasset. So this is that was another huge win for the program.
Yeah, they checked off a lot of boxes, and, so did their JV, as there's a high finish inside by Luca Icabellis, the junior.
Yeah, nice job right there by Icabellis. Goes lefty, throws a little backhander past Bolch.
But if there was any question about what Southside returned, right, Cromwell said, we played Southside. We came back to our place. The JVs are playing, and he's like, these guys aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of really good young talent. The JV team last year beat both Garden City and Manhasset as well.
Yeah, they had the luxury with 27 seniors of keeping a lot of those young guys down. You don't see that in a lot of places. If you're a sophomore and you're really good, you're up on varsity, right? You're playing right away. Southside was able to keep those guys and let them play on the JV, and playing time is so important. And I remember Coach Cromwell said that just because I come back and I'm looking at their JV team and thinking, wow, these guys are really good and they're not going anywhere.
As if he didn't have a headache enough.
Right.
Going to Rockville Center and getting that loss, comes back here and sees the Southside JV winning against his JV and realizes what the future will bring. A nice left-handed shot. Samrani with the goal.
Yeah, Samrani is a young man who can really shoot it. He's been on the first line, on the second line, had a huge goal against Wantagh in that comeback victory. You see here, just a really, really good-looking shot right there.
And gets it to his left, goes up high on Bolsh. Samrani the junior. So 14-8 with a minute 18 remaining. Good work on the wing by Lucas Papadopoulos.
Yeah, nice job right here by the Southside backups who have been put in the game. You know, I always used to say to my teams, we coach everybody, right? So when you go into games, you got to play the right way, and sometimes you see the game get a little, messy, but these Southside kids are obviously very well coached. Coming in here, sticking with the plan, good skills.
Yeah, they've got one more regular season left as well. We'll also have that on the Varsity Media Sports Network playing Plain Edge. That'll be their senior day in Rockville Center, and then it's time for the postseason for both. And, you know, listen, I think a lot of people around, as nice save by Bolsh, kind of think maybe round 2 of Southside Wantagh, maybe round 2 Woodstick as well. I think teams like Calhoun and Bethpage and others might want to have to say something about that, but a good win here for Manhasset. Maybe one of their better ones,
yes,
if not their best one of the season.
Yeah, I think a really complete game by Manhasset. They came out of the gate, played excellent offense, ball movement, unselfishness, great placement on their shots. They really set the tone early here, Dylan. And Manhasset looks like the team that we talked about earlier that's getting better, that played that tough stretch, that is primed and ready for a playoff run.
A big, important bounce back for Manhasset after that Riggs Rock loss and then the Woodstick before it as well. You know, they did get the Calhoun win in between, but I think it was important to have a 4-quarter performance, and that's what Manhasset did here tonight. Started off with Doc. Makes a house call up high. But then Gamberg comes the other way. A pole goal. Gets Southside a little bit juiced up. Danny Colin, though, wants none of that. He also goes top shelf for Manhasset. So many different Manhasset players involved. How about that one? A little BTB for you from Lynch. Crafty from him. But then Sheeran. Big one there. And in case there was any thoughts of a comeback, Henry Griffith says no. Big save for Griffith. Shakes his hand. Not today. Gives a little Matumbo there for you. I want to thank, of course, our entire Varsity Media crew. Ben Turchin, our executive producer. Chris Sweeney, our technical director. Mike Verdi and Ron Pierre bringing you all those great moving images. My broadcast partner, Tom Rooney, Dylan Butler, thanking you for joining us from Manhasset. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Varsity Media Sports Network.